Bury him with his mates.
I've got 11 million quid, and you can have it. You two, all of it. Just let me walk away. Dick.
We are talking about the British horror gangster movie 13 Graves. This one is written and directed by John Langridge and is going to be put out by Monarch Entertainment. Now, this story is, I would say, you can loosely describe it as Reservoir Dogs meets The Wicker Man. So what we have a small group of British gangsters. Essentially, we have this kind of like this lady mob boss, and she has her son and these kind of two heavies, these two kind of like soldier kind of mobsters, I guess, for lack of a better word. Anyway, they're kind of apparently going to meet some kind of like deal in the middle of the woods, and the tables are turned, and the mob, this female mob boss actually has found out her son has betrayed her, and our two heavies are sent to kind of dispose of him. Now, this particular area of woods, this is where they kind of bury all of their kind of obviously people that they killed to try and obviously hide the evidence, so to speak. So they march this kind of this young guy, this son, out into the woods to kind of execute him ultimately. But it turns out these woods may not be completely empty of other entities here. And what we have is what initially looks like is this weird kind of like pagan type cult that seem to be kind of inhabiting these woods and have been watching these kind of criminals afar for some time here, but they have decided now to kind of reveal themselves. And not only that, there also does seem to be some supernatural elements at play here as well. Now, how that all plays out, you'll obviously have to watch the movie to find out. So let's discuss 13 Graves. I actually really enjoyed this movie, and it's mainly down to this stellar character work by our two kind of main mobsters, essentially. These two guys here, and their kind of characterization and their interplay with one another, because I found it thoroughly entertaining. Now, if you've seen the British kind of like gangster films like Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch, stuff like that, it has that kind of like that snarky kind of British kind of sense of humour, and these guys who actually, I mean, I don't want to say they're friends exactly, but they do have a really good interplay between them, and it's that really sells this movie. I mean, they're ultimately, you know, killers, so they're not good guys, but nonetheless you can't help but like them because they do seem like real kind of people, and the interplay they have with one another is so genuine and kind of so just kind of like clever. I think is absolutely a joy to sit through. And I like these guys that, you know, they're all suited and booted, looking kind of sharp, having to dig bodies, and it's an actual kind of like a point of contention for one of them. He doesn't understand where he has to wear his suit, for example. But I just thought their kind of characterization was absolutely fantastic, and even the kind of the initial setup where we have the female mobster, the mob boss, cavalierly declaring that, you know, she's going to kill her son, and really kind of having no bones about it. You know, it sets up for kind of these are kind of like cold people. And then we have this fantastic kind of location shooting in these woods, and then as we come across, there are kind of a few sort of interior shots as well. I thought looked absolutely great, and as we kind of start to kind of see this kind of otherworldly threat with these kind of like these pagan kind of people that kind of turn up. We don't really know what's going on. We don't really know kind of what they want, and kind of what their kind of deal is, and we sort of see various kind of like artifacts and sacrificial bits and pieces that are kind of left around that look pretty disgusting, and you know, it all kind of is kind of, I guess you want to say something to do with like purgatory or something like along the lines of that, when it's all kind of said and done. And although it's not like special effects laden necessarily, obviously the kind of the supernatural element there is kind of plays a pretty heavy part as well. What doesn't work for me? Okay, I gotta say, I think the film starts to lag a little bit in the middle. I don't think there's not really enough going on in the middle section of this movie. I was thoroughly entertained by the kind of the character work and the kind of the dialogue in the first kind of part of the movie. The plot doesn't seem to move forward in the middle section of the film, and obviously in the last kind of act, really, that's when we kind of get the reveal more is about the kind of the more horror stuff, so to speak. So we have our kind of our more gangster stuff at the beginning, our horror stuff at the end, and the middle just seems to be treading water a little bit. The only other thing I would say, and this may be more of a taste thing, to me the ending didn't make any sense. It's clearly meant to be some type of like revelation about what's kind of happened, but I didn't really understand what was actually supposed to have happened, if I'm honest. I think that's kind of one of these like situations where that will be like some kind of like, oh my god moment. But I was thinking, I don't really understand how that's actually happened. It didn't make a lot of sense. Maybe it's not meant to, I don't know. So I didn't really kind of, I mean, I'm talking the very end. I wasn't a huge fan of that, because to me it just kind of came out of left field and didn't really kind of make much sense and kind of wasn't kind of earned at that point. The only other kind of relatively minor point here, there is a little bit of obvious use of like CGI blood squibs of things like that. It seems unnecessary. I mean, a blood squib isn't something that is a massive kind of like budgetary issue for these films, and I don't know why they kind of add this very obvious CGI blood. It's a minor point, and we're talking probably 30 seconds of screen time throughout the whole movie, but nonetheless, it's blindingly obvious when it happens, and kind of it's a little bit of a I don't know, it just takes you out of the movie a little bit. Just use blood squibs, or just don't show the blood coming out. I'd rather that, to be honest. Overall though, I've got to say, I really enjoyed the acting, I really enjoyed the character work, and the actual kind of the mystery about what's happening I found very intriguing until right at the end at least. And when we kind of get our reveal about it, the kind of what's happening, it's okay. Before we get to the very end about the supernatural stuff and what it actually means, it's pretty good. I actually thought this movie is definitely worth a watch. If you kind of like a mix between your Brit gangster flicks and your kind of like your supernatural kind of like cult pagan-y type horror, then this is definitely a great melding of the two. I, for one, thoroughly enjoyed it, mainly for the fantastic work done by our two main actors here. I thought they were great characters and really kind of genuine actors. I feel that really embodied this kind of like this camaraderie and kind of almost a little bit of competition between our two kind of hitmen. So overall, I'm going to recommend this one for the most part 7 out of 10. If you've seen it, what did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.